He put on the face of an extremely tired old man and took an item from his arms. "Finn, look at this." On the table were ice cubes. Smaller in size than a small dagger. Upon closer inspection, it turned out that it was not ice, but a frozen dagger without a blade. "That is," Royman said to Finn with a surprised expression. "This is an item taken from the ice garden." Instantly, Finn's eyes widened. He looked at Royman's face and then at the frozen object on the table, his eyes darting back and forth between the two. "So besides her, there are other crops. Although they are only relics. Where is the location?" "In the crack between the 60th and 61st floors. Now that's all I can say." Finn unconsciously lowered his voice. Then, after a few seconds, he asked, "Where is the key?" "I did not find. At least Zeus and Hera didn't." A moment of silence passed through the store. It creates an illusion that the world is standing still. However, after only a moment, Royman broached the subject. "If you agree not to participate in the war game, the guild will release the information about the ice garden to you." "I understood." Finn expressed surprise a second time. The little humans completely stopped, and Royman himself continued with a strong feeling of bitterness. Even Zeus and Hera can only bring such small things back to the ground. But, you, Loki Familia, with that naughty ghost, maybe he can find the key. Royman's words almost passed right through idle thoughts. Finn shook the unbelievable impact and desperately collected information. Before he had time to figure out Royman's original intention, he first asked, "Why did you decide to release the information now? You are crazy." And Royman raised his eyebrows again. "This information. I plan to wait for you, Loki Familia, and Freya Familia, to form an alliance like Zeus and Hera before telling you. If it's consistent with the contents of the report, then where is the ice garden? The area is so dangerous. But look at you, you just fight every day and don't plan on joining forces. What's more, you even want to fight now." Boom! With a loud thud, Royman slammed the table. He raised his body and spoke non-stop, spitting out his words. "It's better to reveal the hidden information than to see you two lose. Let's avoid conflicts between you." Royman, who took a deep breath, fell back into his chair and concluded like that. This is a transaction at both ends of the balance, and it is also a very sad transaction. Allow the Loki family to attack the dangerous areas that can only be challenged by the cooperation of the two main factions. The price is withdrawal from the war game. This is what Royman means. Finn shut up for the first time regarding the guildmaster's point of compromise. At the same time, this is also Royman's counter against Finn. The information hanging in front of his eyes was so hard for Finn and the others to ignore. At least Riveria won't stay silent. If this matter is clarified, she will definitely avoid this war game, even with the members and Bet not wanting to hesitate. "Finn, you must subdue the Black Dragon. There will be no one after you. There will never be a hero container of your level. Completing the 3 major adventurer commissions is so severe and heavy." The elf who was over 150 years old said that, and every sentence he said was extremely solemn and serious. "When it's time to subdue the Black Dragon, you must be the commander. Don't always think that you are just an adventurer." There is also pleading in the warning voice. There was a long silence between the two. "I've already said everything I have to say. Don't play war games, Finn. Got it?" Finally, Royman changed back to his usual appearance and got to his feet. After repeatedly urging him, he left the store in a panic. Finn spat out the air accumulated in his body. He reached out to pick up the frozen object left on the table and looked up at the ceiling for a while, blocking out the light. Then he leaned back in his chair, cocked his head, and made a sound. Is this also in the calculation of the goddess Freya, Hedin? Don't call me by my name casually, little person. A cold voice answered from behind. At one end of the store where Finn was, a little deeper. On the screen-blocked seat sat a handsome elf who was not Royman. The elf with long blonde hair falling down her back and reading with a book in one hand was called Hedin Selland. The Freya Familia elf is also the first-level adventurer of level 6. I really didn't know that you were also a regular customer of this store. By looking at the name of the store, you should know that this store is related to elves. As for you, I think it was recommended to you by the Thousand Elf. The name of this store is Visor. One thing Finn doesn't know is that a certain boy was kidnapped by Hedin to this cafe. Coincidentally, Finn also tested out the Lilliputian marriage proposal with that boy right here. Royman didn't pay attention, but when Finn and the others entered the store, Hedin was already here. Knowing that he was present while advancing the matter, this also has the meaning of restraint. Finn is naturally considered old and cunning, and even now he is still an elf sipping black tea at the back of the counter with an attitude of having nothing to do with it. See with yourself. The owner didn't give up much. Lord Freya originally demanded to start the war with the premise of defeating the entire army of Ororio. Do not hold such villainous views and do not insult this lord. Hedin still looked at the book and told the unadorned facts. Finn played with the frozen object in his right hand and asked back. You mean not only to defeat the coalition forces of other factions, but also to defeat us? If the opponent is you, just plan a corresponding battle. Kill the ferocious beast kind. Freya Familia is just fighting for the goddess. A collection of individuals with overwhelming power. If these people cooperate with each other for the goddess, what will happen? First, there will be nothing to do. If it is said that they truly display leadership strength that is better than Finn's, then the Loki Familia cannot beat the Freya Familia. At the end of the day, even though I'm a mate, I'm still a little angry. As long as there's order, all kinds of assumptions are subverted. That's right. To be a little more extreme, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, as long as you can't defeat the fierce one, it's over. Fight the Freya Familia, who has the strongest in the city. And that. Despite what Royman said, I will still side with Hestia Familia. Say. Just let me impart a little wisdom to my brave brothers. Speak up, idiot. The two turned their backs to each other without even looking at each other, just their voices. Between the two. I'm quite pleased to see you being influenced by the guild pigs. It's really refreshing. Ah, I really lost to him. Hedin, who had turned the pages of the book with an unmoving expression, sneered, and Finn then simply admitted it. Royman was more concerned about losing the city's combat power than anyone else, so he played his precious trump card. Even if one of the Loki Familia participated in the war game, he would never hand over the information that Finn and the others wanted. In this way, the possibility of relying on reinforcements is almost hopeless. Loki's Familia intervened, and the win rate could only be 5 or 5. He was finally able to shake the balance. The Freya Familia of today is so powerful. Hestia Familia, what is about to happen is a hard and desperate battle. Finn looked out the window. The face of a young woman from the same clan appeared in his mind and her blue eyes narrowed. In another place. I don't know if she can stay calm without crying or screaming. Belle. The answer is no. The hero's wish came to nothing, and Lily Luca completely turned into a crybaby. Lily, I'm fine now. Sorry. Lily. At the Hestia Familia base stove firehouse. In the living room, Belle was there. To be precise, he can only stand. Lily hugged Belle, buried her face in his stomach, looked up in tears. Belle couldn't move in that posture that should be called crying and begging. Also, it's not just Lily. I'm sorry, Belle Kuan. Saying that. I really don't deserve to be her advisor. You are my hero and you obviously saved me, but I will repay your kindness with vengeance. Haroheim, what can I use to pay? Ina is on the far right. On the left is Haroheim. The half-elf holds her right hand firmly with both hands, while her left hand is gently held by the fingers of the fox kneeling on the ground. Apologies from the three directions were all filled with extreme lamentation. It's so heavy. The symptoms were so severe that the back of Belle's head couldn't help but gradually sweat. That said, the fact that Haroheim and Ina were crying came as a huge shock to Belle. The image of an older woman who was like her older sister crying like a child for herself, was too shocking for a boy who had just turned 14. So much so that he was tongue-tied and the guilt kept coming out. I'm sorry, Belladonna, not only did I forget you, but I pushed you away. I couldn't save you, what kind of family? Not even the Dejiza can be forgiven. Sorry, Belle. Me too. More. Surrounding Belle's and the three's lives are wealth and others. Naza, Daphne, Cassandra, Uka and Chikusa, Aisha and even Mold are there. Except for the gods who rushed to meet the gods, they all fell under the spell of goddess Freya. Why don't you hit me with your fist? You're only satisfied with relieving your guilt. They all had heavy faces, made an expression of embarrassment and said one after another in an atmosphere that could be called a vigil. The living room has now become a focal point for excuses. All the confusion that lived in Belle's mind. Belle looks up at the sky, his head spinning like a windmill. What should I do? Belle muttered to himself. To be honest, Belle is already at his wit's end. Belle wasn't tired enough to feel comfortable demanding an apology. Rather, he is a human being who is embarrassed. Besides, Lily and the others didn't do anything wrong this time. They mistakenly believed that Belle had nothing to do with them due to charm, and she was undoubtedly a victim. However, no matter how many times he said, "It's okay, it's not everyone's fault," or every time he said it, his teammates' faces became more depressed.